Hey, thanks, Scott. Hello, and hello to you, Jamie. How are you, buddy?
Oh, I'm Steve Hodge, Andy. No,
Jamie
what's up,
Gomez.
everybody? Hey, Andy. Hey,
Uh,
Scott.
all right, and hello to all you traders out there, and thank you for joining us today. I hope we are going to be able to share and can convey some wisdom and which you can take and become more profitable traders. But before we can do all that, let's dive into the disclaimer real quick. Uh, All right, guys. This what you're going to be seeing
Muted.
is totally for educational purposes only. All right, we're going to be sharing some ideas, be showing some cool stuff on the Brokers Plus today, and but nothing that you see or hear should be construed as investment advice. And if that's what you are wanting, you might want to go see a broker, somebody who's licensed like a registered broker, RIA, somebody in that capacity. But we're going to have a good time. And before we dive into the content today, let's also talk about to the people in here who are checking us out for the first time, been hearing about this great software, but also hearing it's very powerful. Well, we have 5-star support, education, and training here, guys. So do not worry. We have many resources to get you going, and I'm surprised the number of people in just 1 week of use who really got a good grasp of it. I mean, when I first got it, I didn't have all this training. I think I may have had Jamie out there, but
Andy, it's funny because I was thinking that when I was doing the 401 advanced course earlier today, and I almost said it. I was like thinking to
Oh,
myself,
really?
man, I wish I had all this when I first started.
Yeah, it's a good point there for sure. I mean, we guys, we have so much for you here. We have a webinar every day in this time slot except Friday. Uh, That's the 5 Eastern time slot, and it's usually myself, Jamie, or Steve, kind of juggling around that combination into two. But on Wednesday, you get our CEO Dan Merkin and Brad Williams, and they are really good about showing you the bells and whistles that are coming soon. So be sure you get in that Wednesday's webinar. And then, guys, on Friday, we have a special support session that we do that starts at 11 Eastern time every Friday. And it's the whole gang in there, and that being myself, Jamie, Steve, and Sean. And we will, gosh, we just open up the floor to questions. You ask them and we answer them. That's growing, and people are learning a lot in there. So be sure to get in that. If you have any other questions, even if you don't, you're probably going to learn something by coming in there. And let's not forget TI University, okay? If you are new this week and you have not registered for this, you want to sign up for it. I can't tell you how many people just grab this software, and I'm kind of that way too. I kind of want to figure things out on my own, but I'm telling you, these training classes can really help you. And we start from the basics at 101 on Mondays. This is at 12 Eastern time every Monday. Every day is 12 Eastern time. And we graduate each day. The topics get a little more advanced until Jamie rounds it out on Thursday with 401. So even if you've taken this once, or maybe you've been here several months and you've never taken it, guys, you can just register. All you have to do is register, come in, and we do have a Q&A after each class. So please take advantage of that. It can really help your progress. All right, guys, Brokerage Plus is here, and in one capacity, it's come and gone. You no longer can get Brokerage Plus for free. Okay, we gave you plenty of warning for anybody out here. That doesn't mean you have to lose out. We are accepting deposits right now, $100 deposits, for being able to basically have Brokerage Plus for a lifetime. Okay, this fee is $1,100. You can put down a deposit now if you want to wait until our AI is available for auto trading, which is probably going to be late January. So if you want more information of that, just please go to trade-idea.com/beta. All right, here's the agenda today. We're going to go over the market recap as we always do, and Jamie is going to take over the reins and do the Holly recap. He does that so well, so I would be a fool to take that away from him. Then I'm going to show you some cool stuff on Brokerage Plus. A lot of people are thinking, oh man, I can't wait for Holly to come out, AI to come out and be able to auto trade that. That's great and good, and you should be excited about that. But there's so many good, cool things now, and I'm going to show you something that you can do. Now, I'm still learning the product, and some of you in here probably know it a lot better than I do. I'm sure there is. But Michael showed me something the other day, and I want to show you guys because it is cool. And then if we have time, I'm going to do a few price alerts for you. We had a little bounce in the market today, so it's like I said, it's always good to be prepared. Let's take a look at some stocks that may be ready to have a bounce. All right, with that said, let me back out and let's pull up the good old SPY chart here. And let's talk about the market recap. All right, well, this is what we had today, and look what happened. Yesterday, I'm just going to pull this one down right here. The reason this line is drawn in here is I believe I set it in here because that is where, that would be a flat on the year. This is where we open the year. So lo and behold, look what happened today. Now, I'm going to pull it down for the moment right about here to this close, this gap close right here yesterday. Well, you heard us talk about how stocks, they get on a mission and they have this destiny that they want to reach, and sometimes it's really hard to keep them from reaching that destiny, you know, and there's probably, I'm sure, a lot of reasoning for this. Algorithms are playing, people are bidding certain areas. But yesterday we came down here and we sold off, bounced at the close, but we never did really fill that gap. So what happened today, and we were talking about this gap for the last couple of days in some of these webinars, if we level right here, there's a good chance we're going to fill that gap. Well, that's what happened today. We opened up, tried to sell off in the early going, you know, head faked below this gap, popped back up, caught a bid today. There'll be so many reasons out there, guys, why the market bounced, you know, taxes, tariffs, whatever, you know. I just, as a student of price action, guys, that's what's important to you, not the reasons why it did it, but the fact that it did it, okay? And so who knows? But all I'm going to say is, you know, technically the gap was filled and we got a nice bounce. Now, what's going to happen? Because right now we're still in no man's land. Zoom out on this chart, and you're seeing a lot of actions much similar to what we saw here in January when we sold off. You know, there is obviously volatility in the marketplace, and you're seeing a lot of the actions. Well, stock prices have a tendency to reoccur different, you know, because let's face it, you know, this is, we're looking at a big psychological map here, really, and it's really good at measuring, you know, it's a great thing about technical analysis. It does measure the psychological component of the market, something you'll never get out of fundamentals. And of course, now you're seeing a lot of volatility, okay? That can be obviously associated with you know, a person's psyche. So we're kind of right in the middle of no man's land. I mean, we're still below our moving averages, and it's going to be a little bit tougher this time around versus what you saw over here, because guys, let's face it, for the most part over here, if I can get that at 200 to act right, let me show you. Let's pull SPYs back up. Well, it's not drawing the line completely, but we held our 200-day moving average. There's a couple of times where we dipped below it, maybe closed below it 1 or 2 days, but for the most part, you can see we held our 200-day moving average. Well, it's not the case anymore. Now we are below our 200-day moving average. It's going to be a little bit tougher game, okay? Once again, also, look at the 50-day moving average over here. You know, it was easier to get above it. Now, you know, it's kind of hanging out up here. We haven't gotten close to it since we sold off. So, a couple of big daily moving averages there, the 50 and the 200. You know, this mess we're seeing right now between the 20 and the 10 and all that, I think you just kind of throw that out the window. I'm not seeing any guiding hand there. But you do want to watch this 200 and the 50, which is coming, you know, sloping down, and you know, never got below it on this pullback. You know, I don't know. Is that the death cross, Jamie? Like the 50 over through the 200? Is that what the? Somebody help me. I forget these things, but But nonetheless, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time here. Time will tell, but I just wanted to point out that we are below our 200. We are below our 50, where over here we spent all the time above the 200. And let's face it, this is probably the most important variable that hedge funds and market analyst, when it comes to, is a stock and a kind of a bearish action or versus a bear market. I shouldn't say bear market, but I'm referring to each stock, not the market in general. Generally, if it's above your 200, it's thought of as a bullish. If it's below the 200, it's thought of as bearish. And there's a lot of stocks right now, including the major averages, that are below their 200. And until we get back above there and can stay there for a certain amount of time, unlike what we saw over here, we're there for a couple of days, come slamming back down, you want to see it trade above there consistently. So time will tell. I think you got to keep your eye on those moving averages, and of course the key levels here, and that we need to hold. But right now, sloppy, no man's land. Time will just tell. I'll go through them all. The Qs, they looks pretty much the same. The diamond's probably holding up a little bit better above their 200, but not much. And IWM is still the same, kind of well below its 200. So Jamie, I don't know if you have anything to add there. I probably rambled more than I should have, but I was trying to make sense.
Randy, that's really good stuff. I was just noticing the VIX. It had a little red day today after a slight gap up, but
interesting.
It looks like it might want to go test those higher levels again here because of course the chop that we're in, or the no man's land. But today there was a huge opportunity out there and crazy fluxes in all of the AI's equity curves today. Usually on a winning day, we'll see maybe a little red-green back and forth until, if it is a winning day, once it catches green, you just got that smooth upslope and then a maintaining of that and maybe a little flattening or pullback and higher, whatever. But man, they were like psycho today. And I'll show those here in just a second. But that's something that you don't see very often.
No,
right?
I noticed that.
Just something that we're not accustomed to seeing because we've been in this bull market, which has been great, and now we're having some readjustments and figuring out where we're going to go next. But nonetheless, the opportunity is there, and the AIs did a pretty good job today at ferreting that opportunity out. But yeah, ending numbers look good, but that doesn't mean the ride was calm.
No, it wasn't smooth. Gap down, went lower, back up. Kind of caught the AI leaning in one direction on shorts earlier, then bounced it back. But I thought it hung in there very well, all things considering. And I don't really have any insight to add to Holly right now. So if you want to take it away and go over just some of the numbers, there was some good trades in there, and I'm sure you got a couple to look at. I did notice some.
There's a little there's a lot of risk on opportunity today. But once again, when we decipher that on a trade by trade basis, a lot of these patterns that we're about to look at, you're like, now why would I get out? Well, looks good to me. Anyway, I'll take the helm here.
Okay.
So I'm going to start talking like people can see my screen already. Let me know when you can see.
I will. I don't have it yet. There she is.
All right. Cool. Welcome to my desktop. Let me get a quick drink of water here. And off we go. Also, too, just general commentary about the market action today. For those of you who are fans of the compare count, these are 15-minute candles. So at the first of that 15-minute period there, man, we had over 60, I think it was 62% downside readings. So it was uncanny today. Followed that to the T, right? Of course, we got the bounce. And then what did the SPY do? This bounce has been put in, a little good old-fashioned range break, right? Up to this level here. So just in this small amount of time, the SPY itself and the market in general presented some really interesting things. Of course, if you're watching the compare counts, you would have gotten a little bird going, hey, good chance we sell off here or go down for a period of time. Nice move. Back up here, identifying another trading event, and more time you spend in the chair, the more natural these things will just jump out at you. But anyway, talking about the hollies here, and my screen's pretty packed here, but what I've got here are all of the individual blotters for all the modules, and then we've got the strategy panel up top here, and I'll just kind of click back and forth to look at charts here. But first off, and of course this is interesting in a couple of different senses, because we always talk about Holy Grail being the first AI that we came online with, and then not too long after, Holly 2.0. And then rounding it out for the trio is Neo, who's the youngest of the bunch, but the more aggressive, right? So just to recap here, Holly 1.0 uses all of the off-the-shelf filters that TI Pro offers, all the alerts, all the filters, doesn't include any custom filters. So she's the more conservative of the bunch, right? Can't use custom filters either. Then we gave Holly 2.0 and Neo the ability to use customs. And then Holly Neo is just a little bit more aggressive than these two, right? So this one can use customs, this one can use customs, but Neo's definitely the more aggressive of the two. So we look at, you know, all of these guys finished at the best risk on today totals. So we're looking at Holly 1.0, Holly Grail's risk or equity curve here. And of course the typical red to green, red to green. Then we catch some traction and, you know, not exactly smooth that we're accustomed to seeing, and we have these little vacillations here, right? So, and by the way, if you guys hear me blot out for just a second, it's because I'm fighting allergies here, so I'd rather make you hear silence than me coughing and hacking, sneezing over here, whatnot. So now let's click it on over to 2.0. And once again, risk on. Wow, I mean, look at this. Looks like an EKG or something. We get the typical red-green early in the day. We get that traction bust above that previous high there. And then, hey, yay, oh, swoon. Oh, we're back in highs. Now we're all the way back to flat, zero. I mean, and looking at how many times it does that. I mean, not what we're used to seeing, but nonetheless, good information, right? That just shows you what kind of day it was. It was this meat grinder seesaw type of day where we go down and then we, you know, finish the day up here, just pecking at highs, right? That's what you're seeing here. You're seeing the AI positions reflect that, but it's good to see that in the end, still green. So now Neo being the more aggressive of the three, I mean, you know, a nice start, but then the chop begins. And then the funny thing is, you know, if you were in this basket of positions today, you're like, okay, after so many of these, you're like, man, next time we get even close to those highs again, I'm plugging out, right? And then, of course, maybe you did that right here. And then watch, the bottom drops out and then just rips to all-time highs, right? It's the more aggressive module. So with the fluctuations that the market was having, it's no big surprise to see just some of the more massive fluxes. You know, here you are almost back down to flat. Next thing you know, close to the close, you're at all-time highs for this one today. So it's good to see this in a sense because plenty of time to exit these positions in the, you know, the ebb and flow of the market. So all in all, not a very, a very productive day on a trade count of what, 33 or so right here in these point totals. So let's just kind of dig in here, and there's a little, you know, there's risk on in every module today. Hadn't seen that in a while. So let's just start with Neo down here. Take a look at this PS trade. All right, and so we're looking at 15-minute candles here. Here's where Holly gets the signal. Pretty pain-free, you know, a little ebbing and flowing around the signal line. Now, this brings up a comment we get a lot of the times, whether it's Holly or maybe it's just someone's manual window that they're watching. Hey, you know, sometimes these Holly plays, I mean, they're already, you know, 10, 15 cents up, right? And that's true because things move fast in the market. But when you see something like this, maybe you didn't take the signal initially, but plenty of time to, you know, acquire that price or pretty close to it. I mean, this one kind of went sideways for the better part of the next hour and change. And that's when Holly got out. We can see the shaded area right here. So she basically bought it here, set in it till here and went, this thing isn't working, right? And that's what she's programmed to do. But this one was a timed exit. You know, it ran the whole course. It was just pretty boring. A lot of the times we'll see this, and this will be her profit save functionality, but this one just timed out. But the bottom line is this. We're getting a little sideways action here, but when you see these consolidations, and Andy, I'm sure, and you regulars out there sound like a broken record, but how many times do we see this in these plays? You know, you don't see it immediately. Later on, you look over, you're like, hey, this thing's still at a very, conducive price from where Holly got it, getting a little sideways action. A lot of times, buyers and sellers have become equal. That's why it consolidates, and eventually we get this little range break here and get a little bit more alpha to select from. But the bottom line is this. What's the easy way to adjust to deciding whether or not you're going to go risk on? Well, on a chart like this where it's nice and tame, these are the prime candidates, right? We see Holly getting out for 15 cents. We're like, man, it never even got into this red area here, never even acted like it was going to make a run at the stop loss. I'm going to take a little bit more risk, and I'm going to stay in it. This one would have been good even if you set up your second lot back to a flat position. So do the 50-50 rule. Deal out a half with Holly if you're not sure, if you think it's good for the second lot to go risk on. Set that stop for break even. Worst case scenario, you flat it, you still hold on to your first half of the profit, and everything's good. But over time, once you see this, you'll get, more and more accustomed to identifying it. Maybe even later on when you get a little bit more advanced, you actually bolster the position as this nice tight little range is being taken out here. So, not a bad one from, of course, one of Steve Gomez's strategies, quarterback. Yeah, let's take a look at this guy. Info, even more of the same, pretty much the same. Entry line right here, what do we get soon after? We get the same, pretty much looks the same as PS, right? We got a little sideways action. That's a good thing, especially when we haven't even made, a head nod towards that stop area. It'll let you know it's tight, it's working. This one also went the duration on a timed exit. So once again, what's really the reason to get out here? The thing's just consistently marching up. Once again, the 50-50 rule here would have worked perfectly. Peel out a half with Holly, take your 23 cents. Now let's try to make some spread in between here. That's the name of the game. Get some of that spread. A lot of spread, 77, 78 cents in there. So whether you end up making a dime, nickel, quarter, maybe you max it out. I mean, that makes a huge impact on your overall P&L in the long term. And once again, break-even stop loss would have kept you in this one. Now, we could call this one a trade around. It's not the prettiest one out there, but nonetheless, since nobody can really automate Holly yet anyway, but that's coming for Christmas, or, well, I can't say Christmas, maybe at the end of January. I think that's safe to say, Andy. You will be able to, but right now, trades are popping off. You're in a couple. There's no way you can manage all these trades right now on your own unless you're some kind of super keyboard wizard. Hats off if you are. But this one, what happens? Not immediately, but we get a stop hit here on this one. Churns around kind of like the others, but this one gives up the ghost, punches through the stop area, and then even goes a little bit further down. So you turn your head, you're like, hey, Holly got stopped out of a trade. You might notice it down here, and you're like, wow, it's pretty far past the stop. But I know Steve, Andy, and Jamie always talk about sometimes it's the second mouse that gets the cheese, right? And these areas do end up acting as these pivot areas. So, if you remember that moving forward, you see a setup like this in the future. You see this bottoming wick, and then you see this candle open, in a pretty good range up here compared to where the tail is in here. What a nice low-risk entry on something that has a pretty good chance of snapping back up to that entry line, right? Just playing it from the other side around, called a trade around. All right, I noticed you got stopped out here. Yeah, I can get in here, use that wick as my exit, take a low risk. Maybe it just snaps back up to the entry line, and that's how we play that one. So that could be a good example of what we call a trade around. So we got trade arounds and we've got risk on. Another beautiful example, BRNT here. Nice and profitable. Holly gets out around here. Books her whopping 13 cents. Look how big the spread is here, 13 and 92 cents. We play the same game here, ladies and gentlemen. We see her getting out. Okay, Holly, since I'm new to this, I'll go with you on half. I'm going to set my break even to my entry level, and you get paid again. All right. Sizing up risk on a trade by trade basis. It's not something that you pick at the beginning of the session. You interact with the plays, and that's how you do it. All right, Andy. I think that's. I think we did some trade arounds, we did some risk on, we looked at how the equity curves vacillated, which is a good sign because it perfectly jives with the market mentality today. So all in all, a very solid performance from the AI cluster, and once again, the things that I'm pointing out here, they're there every day, right? Just like the patterns that we hunt from other windows, the pattern is the pattern. If it's good, we take it. These have statistical probability, right? So when you see these, I guess we could call them sub-patterns playing out beneath the scenes, then, the takeaway is they do become a little bit more predictable.
Very good.
All right, Andy.
Yeah, and that's true.
Back here.
And Pedro, you asked, he thought AI was going to be available for auto trading today, and no, it's probably going to be sometime in January, probably the latter half of January. All we've done up until now is just because it's about to come out of beta, we had to have a break off point where people can no longer get it free because it's going to be high demand, and so we gave plenty of warning. So as long as you have premium, you are locked in as
right.
Yesterday.
Yeah, that was today was just the day that if you want Brokerage Plus, today was yesterday was the last day. So now you actually have to pay for Brokerage Plus. Whereas, if you were a premium subscriber as of yesterday, you're grandfathered in, it's free forever. Yep. So that was the special day today. But yes, the AI, we want to make sure we have all the kinks ironed out before we, give that to our clients, and that's a pretty lengthy process. So we're shooting for the end of January on AI automation.
Yes, and Peter, we do the back testing for you. So you can see here in the AI strategies window, and you can see this in every AI strategy window, we have the winning percentage and the profit factor, back tested from the night before. So what the odds are coming in. Now, obviously, we're not going to give out our proprietary alerts for people to do their own back testing on. Then it would no longer be proprietary. But we do give you what the results were from each night and which ones, because they have to obtain a high enough winning percentage and a profit factor to even make the lineup for the next day. You got to remember we have about 50 plus strategies. So yes, so you will see the results, but you can't dig into the insides of the filter sets and all that and play around with them. Okay, Mike said, I just subscribed yesterday and there's no clue where to begin. You know what, Mike, we have plenty of videos, and that's all I'm doing right now. It's a crash course for me too, and I'm learning, and I'm going to show you something that's pretty cool today. As a matter of fact, let me just go ahead and bring up my Amazon workspace. And guys, you can see here, Amazon Workspace, it's just basically, it's almost like you're just renting Windows 10, if you want to look at it that way. If you're a Mac user and you don't want to mess with parallels or virtual machines, you can basically just rent space on Amazon Workspace. And you can compute power. It's great for data storage, content delivery. So you can, but for the most part, Michael uses it for. He's the one that kind of turned me onto this. I'm not using it. I'm just borrowing Michael's right now. That's what we're all doing. But anyway, you can see I have Trade Ideas loaded on here, and you can see the Brokerage Plus module right there. And there's the toolbar. I wanted to keep it just pretty simple because I wanted to focus on Brokerage Plus today. But if anyone wants more information, you can email us on this Amazon Workspace. I mean, it's honestly, it's more built for businesses, but you can still rent space for like $30 a month if you really want to, use something and not be taxing on your computer, and it's pretty cool. But all right, I wanted to show you guys. All right, and like I said, I'm still learning this. I'm still in my infant stage, but I have done enough now where I've known there's some pretty cool stuff on here. Let me stop that ideas. Or did I stop? I always get confused if it's stopped now or is it going. What is this? All right, so okay, obviously you're going to be able to pull up, strategies from the clouds. This is your AI strategies window. You can see here it's very similar to a lot of brokerage execution platforms where you can have open position, you can have orders, different drop-down menus where you can display stuff. I don't want to get too much into the details, guys. I just want to show you something that's really cool that you can kind of create your own strategy on the fly by using our filter sets. This is what Michael showed me, and he does sometimes. So what we're going to do here is, let's say we're in the strategies window. You can see some strategies in here right now. Okay, they're all turned off. If I wanted to turn them on, I could just highlight it and I can enable selected, and it would cut it on. Okay, and I can disable selected. But let's say you're sitting here and you're trading. You don't really use one of your own strategies, but you want to build something. You want to build a strategy for a stop loss and a target if you want, where you can click on anything and use your parameters in that strategy. And it's really cool. So what you would do is you could just right click in here and new trading strategy. It's going to bring you up this little configuration page right here. And we could just call this, I'm going to call this exit. And I did this previously. I'm probably going to have a problem because I already have one. Exit, I'm just going to put exit on lows. Okay, that's just the name of the strategy. Now you have to say whether you're going to go long or short in this strategy. This is going to be a long strategy. Okay. Now, since I'm not bringing over one of my pre-configured alerts, so I really don't need to fill out this component right now, trade between what hours. I could, but for the most part, I'm just going to use this configuration for like on-the-fly trading. And so really, all this send orders for a symbol at least one or more times, I don't have to worry about this. This is going to be a point and click. All right. So I can just bypass all this. But I do want to use positioning size, and we've showed you this before. Now you have this available on our software when you're watching Holly, even if you don't have Brokerage Plus. Well, yeah, I guess now you can essentially have premium without Brokerage Plus, so you can still do this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to base my stop. I'm going to base on stop loss, okay, and I am going to put in here $200. So basically what I'm saying is I'm going to configure a stop loss down here, and I want this system to go out and buy however many shares where I do not lose a maximum of $200. So in other words, that's the maximum I can lose, 200. So in other words, if I buy something, it goes to my stop, I'm going to lose 200. Okay? And it will go out and buy the right amount of shares for me. I don't even have to figure it out. All right. So positioning size, name of my strategies, exit on lows. Order entry, I'm going to do a limit. Okay, the last price. Okay, it's going to be whatever price I click on, because I'm not using a window right now. I'm not using an A window. I'm just going to be pointing and clicking. So it's going to go out and use basically a 2-cent delta, which means whatever the last price was, it's not going to buy it more than 2 cents above whatever that last price if I'm buying. Okay. Now this is going to be tricky. Steve talked about this the other day. It's what you have to just remember. Anytime you're being aggressive, use a negative figure. Okay. If you're being non-aggressive and maybe wanting the price to come to you, use a positive number. Okay. So for right now, we'll have a lot more of this coming down the road. Just remember, if I have a -2 in here, it's basically the same as a lot of execution calls it deltas. It's a 2 delta where I do not want to pay more than 2 cents of the current ask. All right. Now, I am going to put in here a stop loss. And this is where it gets cool. Okay, so right now I have none in there. We have to have a stop loss. So what I'm going to do, you can use percent. You can use dollars. If I only wanted to lose $200, I could put $200 in, but we don't want to do it that way. We want to set it up something on a filter set. That's what I want to show you how cool this is today. So we're going to select filter, and this opens up our filter formula box. So we can click down and we can use any one of our filters as a stop. So I'm going to give you an example of a cool one. So let's say you're playing around. I did this today in practice. I did really good on Amazon and Facebook. I'll show you here in a minute. We can go to above low. Okay. So basically what we're saying here, as long as the price is above the low of the day, we do not want to stop out. If it goes below that low of the day, that's going to be our stop. So this is real cool. Target for right now, I'm just going to put none. Obviously, you could put, whatever whatever. You could also do a filter for your target as well, like a high of the day once it crosses above the high. But for right now, I'm just going to leave it at none because I think you get the gist of it. So we just created this strategy right here on the fly. Okay, so let's click OK. Make sure I got everything right quick. Looks like I do. There we go. And there is our strategy, exit on lows. So now what you can do during the day is turn this on if you want to use it. Enable selected. So this is on. And I'm going to show you what I did today. So I'm cruising through here and I'm seeing Apple down here, as the market keeps teetering to lows. Let me go to the 15-minute chart. Yeah, it's right around down here. Market's trying to go to lows. Apple's staying positive. Tried to go, get close to negative a couple of times and kept bouncing up. So all I did is when the market, I felt the market wasn't going to go down anymore, I simply, can you back test it? No. See, because this is not a strategy. Okay, you cannot back test. This is basically all I'm doing is setting up stop parameters. Now it's listed as a strategy, but basically I just created something where I can trade on the fly and use these stop parameters. So in the middle of the day, all I'd have to do, and this is what I did today, I just right clicked and I put trade Apple using exit on lows. So it went out there, it executed trade, and you see got bought 44 Apple at 190.50. Okay, so it calculated the number of shares I'd buy. Of course, I got a lot more earlier because Apple was trading down here. Obviously, if it's up here, we have a long ways to low, so I didn't get as much today. So it's a really good way to, like this is the one that we just exited, showing you the stop price. The stop price is on lows because it's part of our filter set, and that's what we used. Okay. So if Apple were to go down to 166.90, this system would have stopped me out. And this is exactly what it looked like today, except I had more shares. Did the same thing with Facebook. And actually doubled my position in that because it looked like it was about to work. But how did you see, Matthew, I didn't calculate that. It calculates the 44 shares. So here's the way you want to look at it, okay? We know the stop price is at the lows of the day, okay? So we know the stop price. If I go over here and I put it on 86.90, that's the low of the day. That's going to be my stop. Well, now Apple's trading way up here. So what our system does, remember how I showed you in there, I do not want to lose more than $200. So the system automatically accounts the number of shares, okay, for it to buy, that if the stock does go down to the stop price, you're only going to lose $200. Does that make sense? So okay, perfect. If I had $700, $800 in here, it would go out and buy a lot more. So that is what's cool about this, guys. I don't want you to think that it's all about auto trading Holly. I mean, auto trading Holly is going to be exciting and it's going to be cool. But trust me, as a long-time trader, one of the most difficult things to do when you're trading is to take your emotions out of the game. And a system like this, where you know exactly you can come in here real quick. And Facebook, I bought Facebook, I think down here somewhere, and I'm saying to myself, okay, if it goes to lows, I want out, and I don't want to lose more than $200. So, boom, really quick, I traded Facebook. And let's see, I didn't see the pop up there. Maybe I went too fast. No, yep, there it is. I may have to do some sort of the price isn't after hours, maybe too widespready or something. For some reason, I didn't get that. But trust me, in market hours, it works perfectly fine. It's just right now, this late in the day, you know, the spreads are probably just too whacked. I'm not getting a feel, but it's real. And this, remember, and this is just in paper trading, guys. I'm not trading live right now. I'm testing it just like you guys will be at some point. But getting back to my point about taking out the emotions, I can't tell how important that is. I mean, I can't tell you how many people sit there and they watch level 2, they enter a trade, and they sit there and they jones and they stare at it, and they're wondering, you know, where their stop loss is going to be, and they, you know, they may set price alerts to be alerted if it ever goes there. Well, this is a method where you can, you know, take out those emotions, because all you're doing is setting the parameters up in our system, and then you can just point and click and buy that quick. Boom, and it's buying.
Yeah, we had an interesting question come in just now from Stan, Andy. You know, how quickly can you delete your stop and sell at the last price?
How?
When you hit the flatten button, if you hit the flatten button, it'll get you out and cancel your stop.
Yes, I did that today. Today, when Apple was running and it looked like it was getting weak, I just highlighted it and watch this and sell half. And like I say, today it's in after hours now, so we're probably not going to get the, you know, execution times.
Yeah, but if you hit also too, if you want to get out, flatten, and then it will automatically cancel your stop as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. If I came in here and hit flatten, it's going to get me out and it's going to cancel the stop for sure. There, you just saw the stop price disappear. And orders, market, execute. I don't know. We're gonna have to get into all that, guys. You know, you can't judge any of these executions, unfortunately, in after hours and what's going on. But it worked really nice, seamlessly today. It was just, as a matter of fact, I saw what I did in Facebook. I didn't have what I felt was enough shares. I had 350, so it looked like it was about to go. I hit double, so boom, it went out and bought another 350. Okay, and Apple got up to like $500. I said, you know, I think it was right here, and I said, you know what, that's a nice profit. The market is getting a little toppy here. Boom, hit that, and it's sold, immediately sold Apple, and half of the position. And then later in the day, I just hit flatten, and it flattened Apple. So, but it's so cool to be able to just come in here, guys, and create a strategy. So you can basically just come in here real easy and create your positioning size and your entry, your delta, how much you want to reach up for a stock, or reach, or just shorting, reach down, you know, for stock. So what exactly does on off change? Yeah, that's cool. This is mostly for auto trading. Okay, so for example, this topping tail here, this is a configuration. Okay. And so before the market opens, maybe I want to come in here and click on this and turn it on, because I want to make sure, you know, say the market has ran a lot in 3 or 4 days in a row and I'm looking for some short entries and I want to play this topping tail strategy, I just enable it. And what will happen is, since this is an alert window, an A window in there, which is basically conformed into the Brokerage Plus as a strategy, that will start executing trades. Now, that's what's beautiful about, I don't know if I can go in here, let me see, edit trading strategies. All right, so you can see right here, these are key points. Okay, this is when the time we want it to execute trades. This is key right here. Send orders for a symbol at most once per day for this strategy. At most once. I guess I'm assuming that means, Jamie, that it's only going to send out one order when that alert
Right.
comes out, and not just.
Let's say if Apple gets triggered from that strategy, it's not going to
Yeah.
send out another Apple signal. But guess what? Sometimes you'll be long from one strategy in Apple, and then a separate strategy, we see this all the time in Holly, a separate strategy later on says, oh, now's also a good time to buy Apple, right? Now, that middle button that's not checked would go ahead and do another transaction in Apple because it's coming from a completely separate strategy. But if you don't want to make multiple entries into the same symbol, you would need to check that.
Right.
You can also throttle it like Andy sees, like right below Andy's cursor there, because this kind of ties into what Matthew was asking. You can say only fill 10 orders. Once 10 orders from the strategy have been filled, no more. So you can throttle it in several different ways.
Yeah, it's really cool the things you can do with this, and that's true. If you have a strategy that has a lot of alerts being spit out, you definitely want to use this. After 10 alerts, you can cut this down to 5. Hopefully your 5 best ones are the first 5 that come through.
Yeah, and Winfield was asking, what's it using to set the price when you use a limit, right? If it's automation, it's the print that generated the alert. It's using that price, and then you say, okay, well, take that price and bump the price up a nickel with a minus 0.05, and then your limit sits out there for how many ever seconds you want it to.
120 seconds, yeah.
In this case, 2 minutes. If it didn't get filled, it would cancel.
Yeah. When you manually set it, like you were just watching me right there, it's going to use the last price, right? So it's going to use the last price in Apple. At the moment you hit that button, whatever the last price is, it's going to use that with an offset of however many you decide to use down here. Right. It's a limit price.
So in essence,
you can change that. I mean, you can obviously change it to market. I would be careful, doing that. If you're trading really liquid stocks like Apple and Facebook, you're probably okay. But yeah, some of these stocks, yeah, you got to be careful with market orders for sure.
Andy, even though you're the manual stuff that you're showing everybody, yeah, it's not automation, but is it not? We're automating all these little steps that you used to have to do individually, and now all you have to do is go click. So we're automating the minutia, the stuff you shouldn't have to worry about and sit around and waste your processing power on. You can be focusing on better chart patterns and ease of entry. And that's what it's all about here.
Jamie's exactly right, and this is what I like about using a strategy like this, because you're using something that is technical for your stop. So many people use a monetary value, no matter where the price is trading, on a chart. They may say I'm not going to lose more than $100, when that's the wrong way to go about it. What you want to do is position your size according to a technical point on the stock. This is why I was giving the example of above low. Obviously, above low, saw Apple come down here, bounce a couple of times before going red on the day, even though the market was red. Hey, that's a good technical point right there that I want to be out if it goes there. And remember, guys, I can tell you this from years of day trading. All right, you want to have strategies where you can give yourself about at least 25 cents. Okay, if you're coming in and doing strategies where you have a nickel stop loss, those aren't going to work. You're going to get even 10 cents. The high frequency traders are going to get you every time. So you need to learn just to cut back your share size, go for bigger, 25 cent plus stops, and go for bigger gains. And you can always adjust your stuff. I thought this was cool too when I was sitting, let me go back to positions open like this Apple. You can right click in here. Let's say you have a stop in there, and you can adjust your stop, modify stop. Of course, now I don't have it in there, but if it's in there, I can modify my stop order to basically, create a trailing stop or, bring it up to a certain point. And so I can do it manually. Like I think in Apple a day, it was trading up here, and I just manually put in 89.80 or something like that. I can't remember. Where if it hit, it would take me out. So you can do that stuff on the fly without having to even go to your brokerage platform. But what's good? It looks like we have a lot of questions, and I know we're going to have a lot more of them. So we're going to just spoon feed this a little bit, and trust me, I'm still learning too, and we'll get better at it.
Yeah, and I was looking at Winfield's question there. Stop of 3 bars ago, 5 minutes. Well, I guess that we could call that 15 minutes. Maybe we get something like that, like 15-minute low or something. We'd have to peruse the filter set, but
yeah. Jamie's right. We'd have to, use your filter set. This is where.
Oh, but look, the low. He says the low. That's easy. That's easy. I'm pretty sure.
3 bars ago, 5-minute bars. Sorry, the low. I'm trying to figure out.
I think he means just using the low of the day.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what we did. Exit on lows, yeah. And Michael uses this one a lot when he's. Because let's face it, this is kind of discretionary trading. But as you're looking through all of your alerts, okay, don't feel like you have to have everything on auto trade. Okay, I don't have any alerts up here, but if I did, you could just click on your alerts, and if you see something, say a Twitter or something comes through your alert, and you see something, then you can just, you're like, darn, I wish don't kick yourself for not having this strategy hooked up. You can easily create a strategy like this and just right-click, boom, trade, and you can use the exit strategies on any of your alerts. So
right, and I'm glad you brought that point up, Annie, because yeah, people tend to associate auto trading only with B+, when really it's a platform,
sure,
in which you can also completely automate your strategies, and at the end of January, we'll be able to automate Holly strategies and do all this other advanced functionality that Andy's been showing you. So that's really what it's all about, is the emergence of a whole new platform that does all the stuff that you always wanted in a platform.
No, okay, yeah, exactly. And Winfield, yeah, getting your question, you're probably not going to be something like that in the filter set where you can go back 3 bars and use the low of that bar. No, there'll be some cool stuff in there, but it's not going to be something.
Yeah, it can't look back that quickly.
Yeah, but. Well, see, this is where it can be a combination. What I felt today when I was using it, and obviously paper trading is different. I know I've traded my whole life, so but I can see where it could help a trader who gets too involved emotionally into his or her trades, and because your ultimate loss, and if it's $200 and now all you're doing, you're kind of managing the profits hopefully, and I probably would have done better if I hadn't looked at it. But no, there's nothing wrong when you have a nice profit, going and selling half for sure, and you can just do that with the open positions with the click of our buttons over here. And that's what's nice. You just sitting there and everything's working in your favor. Now remember, all these are market orders. You're not you can't configure these with deltas and all that. Yes, Stan, you can paper trade with Brokerage Plus. Right now, we're trying to work on something so where you guys can do it without having to fund an account. Right now, you have to open up an IB account and you have to fund it with at least $10,000. They basically want you to have some sort of skin in the game, before they open up. But I know Scott and I guess Michael may be working on something to get you guys a better deal.
That is true, because they see what's going on. They're like, we might be able to work a deal for your guys. So hopefully that gets set up pretty soon.
Yep. Oh wow! I just noticed the time. I'm gonna have to be able. That's okay. This is an important topic. So my last segment, I'll just tell you what to look at if you want to check things out. Got more questions. IB has no minimum now, but you have to prove 20K net liquidity. Oh really, Christopher?
What does that mean exactly? Prove 20K net liquidity.
I guess you got to show a bank account with that you can move it over, I guess.
You got to show them that you got 20 grand.
I guess so, yeah.
Now, we're not going to make you pay 10, but if you show us it's
Yeah,
extra,
so as you got some money, bring
yeah, well,
bring by a briefcase.
Oh, no, I'm confused. Anyway, we'll figure it out.
Interesting. Yeah. I guess yeah, I guess probably they want to show that you can wire, account that you can fund it, pretty quickly.
Interesting, just unorthodox.
It is very unorthodox. Yeah. Do you know what is the leverage for stocks if you have? Well, most day trading leverage is going to run around 4 to 1. I mean, you can find some offshore accounts where you can get more, but yeah, day trading is pretty much 4 to 1. Now, you're not going to be able to day trade with a $10,000 account. That's the problem. You're a pattern day trader, so you have to have a minimum 25,000. But if you wanted, I think you'd have to do, what is this, Jamie? Like 4 or 3 or 4 a week or something. I don't know what the rule is, but
if you fall under the PDT, I think you can only trade like 3 or 4 times a week.
Yeah, something like that. Okay. John says 3.
Yeah, 3. I forget, but yeah, I mean, so that severely limits you, because as a trader, you really want to be able to take multiple positions per day, because the first one didn't go, but the second one that you couldn't get into went like a bat out of hell, and then you're like, well, I couldn't make the trade. So that's where you run into problems, and it's probably better for a swing type mentality if you don't have the big account.
Now, Christopher says you can get around the pattern day trader rule with a cash account. So I guess if you're not using margin, that would kind of make sense if you're just using a cash account.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to skin the cat. I'll say that. But you just got to get crafty.
Exactly.
We can't really go into detail on such things on these webinars. That's private conversation.
That's right. Mike says 3 trades in 5 consecutive days. Yeah, that's not very many. All right, guys. We are at the top of the hour. I'm gonna bring in Scott, and what you guys can do. Just take a look. What I was going to show you today is this pullback above 50 SMA. Okay, when you have a market that may, this is what we're talking about preparing, guys. Maybe we'll see a bar reversal tomorrow and some follow through. This is a nice little alert. You can find it in channel 4 on our channel bar. And I want you to look at some of these ones like Etsy. Nice little, recent boom earnings. Nice few days. Look at these pullbacks. Now tomorrow it could be doing a bar reversal, maybe something like that to watch. There's some other good ones in there. I thought Glue looked pretty good. Nice one right there. Boom. So keep an eye on this. If you're doing your homework, mark them up, see if it takes out this high for the day, and there could be some good potential in some of these stocks in here, guys. All right, Scott, I'm going to bring you in here. Guys, lots of good questions.
Unmuted.
And I'm glad we're kind of getting off and going to try to help you guys with this Brokerage Plus. I know Steve went over some stuff on Tuesday, so we'll have more Brokerage Plus for sure down the road. So, but I'm going to have to bring Scott in now to walk us out of here.
Yeah, that sounds good. Thanks, Andy. We've got some recordings for you to watch. trade-ideas.com/summitvideo 2018. You can watch all of the presentations from our event that was in October. Lots of really great content, hours and hours of it. So feel free to look at that as much as you want. There's an ebook that's been very timely this year. Both Andy and Jamie contributed chapters, so do check that out if you don't have it yet. trade-ideas.com/ebook. Just put in your email address and get the download link. We have a podcast. We should have a new episode up tomorrow, so make sure that you're ready for that. Search for Trade Ideas Podcast wherever you listen to podcasts and just add us as a subscription. Check out the archive too. There's some good guest spots that we've had guests on that are really insightful and great too. There's a promo code for you that's good this month. Alpha Studio will get you 15% off your first month or year of Trade Ideas. So go ahead and take advantage of that. You can also use that to upgrade if you wish. Thanks, everyone. If you have any questions, email that to info@trade-ideas.com. Follow Jamie on Twitter @QuantBot. Our Steve Gomez is at Today Trader. We also have at Trade Ideas. Facebook.com/Trade Ideas Pro is the Facebook page to like so that you can share our stuff with your friends. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Andy and Jamie. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks, Scott. See everybody tomorrow in the
All right.
support session.
Yeah. See you in the support session, Andy. Everybody have a great evening. Bye-bye.